wanted to cover here as we get started. One, I'm going to make a shameless plug for our associate engagement survey. It is survey season, and you've probably seen a few buzz videos, some emails and things going out, as well as messages on your tablet. And I just want to plug that associate engagement survey. So we value the feedback. We welcome the feedback. We do learn from the feedback and try to take actions based on that feedback. So we've got about 2 weeks left. So I want to encourage you to take it as you have some time, maybe today, tonight, tomorrow, as you're waiting at a consignee, waiting to get into a location. Please take the time to take the survey. It's about 15 minutes, and again, we welcome that feedback. We have about 10% of the fleet thus far, and we're looking for a lot more input from all of you. So please take the time to take that survey. Secondly, I stand corrected. I had mentioned that this was the last weekend of our Million Mile and Consecutive Safe Driving banquets, and I was wrong. We have 2 more weekends, so I want to make sure I corrected that. But also, I want to ensure that I say thank you and again recognition and congratulations on our 2022 award winners and the exceptional job that you do out there keeping us safe every day. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce these 2 gentlemen. So we have Steve Jarzynski, and I'm going to butcher your name as I typically do, and I apologize. And Steve's a senior engineer in our equipment department, and Stu Sarkala, who is in our ops excellence area. And between the 2 of them, they've got about 55, 57 years between them and a lot of expertise. So as you've seen, again, there's a buzz video out there that speaks to fuel volatility and the potential impact that we're seeing with that. So we wanted to bring in Stu and Steve and just have them reemphasize some compliance tips as well as MPG tips. So we have that out there, and we're asking for your help in terms of helping us to mitigate some of those effects. So we'll start with Stu, and if you want to speak compliance for us.
Sure, I'm filling in a little bit for Lee Whip, who shared with us on the buzz that we're experiencing more volatile prices for our fuel costs per gallon, and we should expect that to continue for some time for all the reasons we see in the news. But as we think about the fuel costs, it's our spread between the lowest cost location for our costs on any dispatch and the average and higher costs can really change a lot at normal times. Now we're seeing more frequent and bigger swings. So it's more important than ever that we follow the optimizer whenever we can and fuel at that optimized location. So thank you for doing that. And if you've got the chance to do it and make that work with your trip plan, please make sure you do use those fuel stops. One thing I would add is that as you think about fuel stops, you're probably aware that our cost is what you see posted at the price at the fuel stop, and we really can't manage costs that way. We need to use the optimizer to pick it for us, but behind the scenes, it updates every night. So our cost changes for each fuel stop every night, and in this environment, it can change quite a bit. So it's best if you're using a fuel solution that was generated today, great. You've got the most current information. You use that fuel stop, you know that you got the best deal that we can get for that dispatch. If you got a dispatch that lasts more than 1 day and you haven't fueled up yet, I'd ask it, request a new fuel solution at the start of the day. Yeah. That way you'll get the current information about what is the lowest cost today on my trip for today.
Yeah. And I was going to ask that exact question because it's fluctuating so much and so significantly that is there a time where you should re-ask for another solution?
Absolutely. So best practice, start of day every day. Yeah, it's always a good practice, but now it could really be beneficial. And if the location changed, you'll know it's because, hey, whatever was lowest cost yesterday, that's not the best deal for us anymore.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate that. We're going to go to Steve, and how about some MPG tips out there for our drivers?
Well, to be honest with you, it's the same thing we've been preaching for many years. So there's no new secrets, but it's good to reiterate it. Speed and idle, of course, are big ones. Use the speed that you need to get there. If you can slow down a couple miles an hour, it does makes a big difference in your overall MPG number. Mm-hmm. And idle, if this time of year we're kind of in between the really cold and the really hot for most parts of the country. If you can shut the truck down, then shut it down. It does conserve a lot of fuel. The things that we talk about, aerodynamic devices, of course, we want to get those fixed. In the buzz video, we jokingly talked about a toothless P4 because it was missing the lower part of of the bumper.
Increases that drag.
Yeah, a lot. And, those have very quick payback. So it's certainly worth our while to get those fixed. Keeping your tractor trailer gap small, keeping your wheel covers in check, all the little things that you do to add up an MPG. And then use of cruise control too. Let the cruise control do the work. There's predictive cruise. It may slow you down a little bit before the crest of the hill and then let you coast on the other side. But it tries to keep you in check and make it as efficient as possible. So it's easier too. You let the truck do the work and we see it in the numbers.
Yeah, and I've also heard shutting the truck down as you're getting in and out and just saves some fuel there as well. And it all adds up, right? How many trucks do we have out there? How many drivers? All those hours, all those minutes, all those seconds add up, and it is cost.
Yeah. And it's a lot of cost, especially now.
Okay, good. We do have one more kind of engineering question. So
Sure.
We're gonna field that for you here pretty quick, and then we'll let you guys slide out of the picture, and we'll bring Mark in. Where was that question?
Which one was it? Hold on.
1 second as we queue up that question. Apologize for the delay.
Okay, it's this one.
That's it.
So Michael Ritz has asked, is it Michael or is it the Levi question?
No specification. I think which one you're looking for is the one on the temperature sensor.
Yes, there you go. So the question is, why is the temperature sensor set so low? I have to wake up every 2 hours to start my truck so I don't freeze. Can't we adjust to a higher temperature?
And I'll assume this is on the lower end. So most trucks are set to 20 degrees. And it's kind of funny because we set it to 20. We actually test it into the negative temperatures for startability and then also for the bunk heater. So when we do a bunk heater test, I'm the guy that spends the night in the bunk and catches up on my reading. And we try and do that. We try and pick a night where it's negative teens or down to minus 20 with a good wind. So I go in there, I fire up the bunk heater, and then unassisted, we have just 2 batteries connected, untreated fuel, etc. And that's how we do some of our starting tests to see how low can we go with different configurations like the DD13, DD15 with our Cummins engine. So I'll tell you, use the bunk heater because that thing puts out way more BTUs than running the main engine and idling it. So if you idle the engine and you watch your temperature gauge, you'll probably only see it hover between 100, 110. I don't think it ever gets up to 120. And it's not providing a ton of BTUs from that front heat exchanger. So the bunk heater is really the way to go. And when I test, that's all I end up using is
Bunk heater.
bunk heater.
Yeah. And we have some buzz videos out there as well that you starred in, I believe.
Star is kind of a that's a stretchy term there, but I'm in them. How's that?
Yeah.
And it's kind of a basic video. We try and keep those to 3 minutes or less. You hate to watch a YouTube video that 10 minutes into it, you still don't know what the answer is. We want to give you the answer, the basics of it, and get right to it.
Yeah, so definitely some resources out there for you to use. We put out those buzz videos based on questions we're getting, concerns we're receiving, and so we really try to tailor those messages to current events and current concerns. So if you have questions about the bunk heater, and we recommend going out there and watching those buzz videos, and of course they're on your tablet. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Stu. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna have Mark come on in, our special guest today.
Thanks, guys.
So as Mark gets settled in, Mark, of course, is our president and CEO, and he is a return guest. And we were just kind of talking. It seems like it's every 13 months that Mark is here.
Just when I'm invited.
Well, and when he's invited, right? So, but Mark is going to hit his 35th year this year, and started out way back in 1987.
That's right.
In Akron, and of course, many of you know him and know his background, but we wanted to bring Mark on, and now that we're at the end of the first quarter, just have him come on, talk a little bit forward-looking, and again, when we talk forward-looking, we can't get into a lot of detail because we are a publicly traded company, but to the extent that he can speak to, that you can speak to 2022 and what we're anticipating, some equipment stuff, which is always near and dear to the drivers' hearts, and then some MLS stuff and anything else that you'd like to add, frankly. So,
Great.
welcome, Mark.
Well, I appreciate the invite, Robert. And first of all, congratulations to you on your new role. It's an honor to be here on your first solo trip here, running the Facebook chat. And I know based upon your background, your experience, who you are as a person and a leader, I know you have really big shoes to fill, but I don't think we could have picked a better individual to do it. So thanks for being here. As I very much, I want to also express my appreciation to our main audience today, which is our driver community. One of the things I get to do a lot in my role is talk to our customers. And invariably, they want to make sure that they convey how much they appreciate what our folks do out there every day, supporting them and supporting their customer. And so they always want me to, every chance I get, to express their thanks. And on behalf of those customers, I want to make sure we kind of start with that. Absolutely. Because it's very heartfelt and it's very genuine and it's appreciated. And they're very much, and we finally got this message of the driver experience at the heart of the customer conversations, which is great. So. And I'm also interested that we started with fuel today, and we just come off of so much of the disruption. This economy that we have here in North America has been incredibly resilient to all these shocks through the pandemic, and now we hit another shock here with the Ukraine situation. And your heart goes out to the people there and what they're dealing with, and it's just we hope we get behind us as soon as we can. But it's going to be another shock to the economy. We're seeing it as a company in our fuel costs, certainly as consumers, we're seeing it. And one of the things we have to watch is that start to affect demand for the things that we haul every day. If our consumers don't have as much money to spend on the things that we move because they're putting it into their gas tanks. So it's a very important issue. So far, demand is really robust. The economy's been very resilient, but now we have another shock that we've got to deal with here. So I appreciate the drivers and the things that they can do to help us lower that consumption to get through it from a cost standpoint. And so, Robert, maybe a little 2022, and I'll be brief so we can get to folks' questions. But every year unfolds and has its own unique story, right? And so it's a little early to say what exactly the story is in 2022. But certainly, as you think about our focus, one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we did was focus on our key growth drivers that we think best position the company long term, and dedicated was one of those. And last year, we added 900 dedicated driving positions from January through December organically. So things that we did inside the company. And then, as you mentioned, very late in the year, matter of fact, 12/31 at midnight almost. We acquired a company, MLS, which is almost about another 900 drivers of a dedicated business, and very disciplined, dedicated business, very much focused on the driver experience and very consistent with our strategy. And so it gets us off to really a great start on that initiative already here as we get into the new year. We're 2 months in. We're really happy with what's transpired there. It's played out pretty much according to plan. We're running them pretty separately by design. We're helping them in a few places like fuel and driver recruiting and maybe how to get them out of Mexico with some of our expertise there, but very limited integration and so far so good. So if we have any folks joining us today from our MLS team, welcome, and we're thrilled to have you as part of the Schneider family. The other big news, obviously, that we've announced this year so far is we're changing our Western rail partner in 2023 from the BN to the UP, and you don't make those decisions lightly. A lot of analysis, a lot of studying on what's best for us long term as we look to double our intermodal business. We think it's a great growth driver. We think it's great for our driver community based upon the roles and the growth that we can have there. It's very aligned with customers' desire to lower carbon footprint. So we think we have a lot of nice tailwinds behind us to grow there. But to do that, we felt we had to be best positioned to have as much differentiation as we could with the big player in the industry. And we think the UP combination with the CSX in the East gives us the best differentiation, the best opportunity to take advantage of our strengths and get after that doubling of intermodal by 2035, maybe 2030. We'll see what we can do there. But that's big news. We won't really do that in a big way until 2023, but we have a lot of planning to do with both the UPS planning, we have planning. We want to make sure we get plenty of time to get our driver community adjusted. They make the changes they need to do around driver experience. I can tell you they're fully committed, and we're going to help them get there as we work through this year. And that's not an anti-BNSF, great company. We respect them a great deal. They've been a terrific partner. It's just, we think this is best for us going forward.
I had the, not to interrupt you, but I
Sure,
had the fortunate opportunity to go out to Southern Cal last week with Adam Ogden and Richard Chandler, and was part of sessions with the UP, and had some driver sessions with the UP, and then some sessions with the UP as they took us around and showed us what the kind of the vision is in Colton, California. And to your point, that their level of engagement, their level of receptiveness to feedback was just, it was very, very reassuring. I think the drivers, you know, with respect to the group out there, which I grew up with and learned from, and I got slapped around a few times from as well. I think there was some skepticism there as they walked in the room, and I think when they walked out, it was an entirely different experience for them. And just seeing the UP folks on their phones with the drivers, and can you change this, and what about that? It really was just a very, very, in terms of their commitment, eye-opening experience.
Yeah, they understand they have to adapt and adjust to be who they want to be in intermodal, and we're the perfect partner to help them get there. So that's why we're really excited. Then maybe the last thing I'll leave you with, Rob, before we turn it over to you and the team, there's always questions about how we're going to do this year on new equipment. Mm-hmm. We've been dealing with this chip issue, and so we've been working with our two primary OEMs, which is Freightliner and Navistar, particularly Freightliner being the biggest. They're increasingly confident that they're going to get us the full complement of equipment we ordered this year. It may not be exactly on our desired time frame. It might be 2 weeks late, 3 weeks late, depending upon the month. But they're confident they're going to deliver, and they think they have a great plan to do that. And they had a lot of pent-up trucks actually built, just sitting out there waiting on parts that gets to be kind of finished up early this year and then get into us. So ironically, I think the trailing equipment market might be even more difficult this year than the power market, which you know, we've told the street that we're going to invest almost $500 million, between $450 and $500 million into our CapEx this year. So increasingly confident on the tractor side, still fingers crossed on the trailing equipment.
Well, good news on the power front. So.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for that, Mark. So we'll go ahead and get into the questions. And the first one comes from Kevin Kocher. And I had the privilege of meeting Kevin at the Nashville banquet as he received his 1 million mile award. And so,
terrific. Congratulations, Kevin.
Congratulations, Kevin. Great guy. He's a regular here. And so thank you for the question. Thank you for your attendance. And again, congratulations on that 1 million miles, Kevin. It's an amazing feat. This question is, Schneider has a comment in the question. Schneider has a perception that it's a starter company. What's your thoughts on the notion, and do you have plans to change that perception? And then second part, what's the future of Schneider going to look like when 52% of the drivers have less than 2 years experience? I don't know if you want me to start or you start.
I'm not sure I understand the stat, but certainly when I see that and when I hear from new folks and when I hear from experienced folks, I think this gets a little bit after our safety culture, and particularly new people in the industry like to know they're going to be trained well, treated well, trained well. And so I think certainly as we get new people into the company, that's one of the key things that we hear why they selected Schneider. But I don't think that's unique to new people. When I talk to people who've been here 10, 20, one of the things that we talk about is what's worked for you here. And as I thank them for being here, when I try to learn more about them, they always, almost invariably come back to, I'm not asked to do something here that I should be asked to do. And so I think that safety culture permeates through, which is what I want to hear. I don't want that to change.
All right.
I do want people to be here for an extended career, and the positions that we have and the success people can have. We think that this is a company for all facets of the driver community, not just new folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kevin, I see that a lot because we're involved with social media. Obviously, we're on social media today, and some of the pages, including the driver jobs page. And, I won't say I take offense to it because that's a harsh statement, but I do take that to heart and things that we're trying to do. And I think overall, as we look at equipment, as we look at, pay and the things we're trying to enhance from a driver experience. We're working on it. We're actively working on it. We hate to see our folks go, and we definitely want our senior drivers to stay. And but again, as I interact with those social media posts, we are known for our safety, and we're proud of that. And as you pointed out, Mark, we want that to start from day one through year 20, and we think that's what helps people gravitate towards here. So thanks for the question, Kevin. We have a question from Michael Ritz. He is also a regular here. So hello, Michael, and welcome. Is it still okay to fuel at an OC instead of where the optimizer sends us? And I'm going to look back at our friends in the back who are off camera. And
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
And I'll let them correct me.
You got it.
Yeah. Michael, so absolutely, that's more than acceptable. You know, ironically, when I started with the company 34 years ago, the fuel network bulk fuel being done at the OC was one of the major drivers of the value of an operating center, because economically bulk fuel was by far less expensive for us than fueling at a truck stop. Today, that's almost opposite. Almost invariably, it's more expensive to the company to fuel at the OC, but the fact that the driver can see and be supported by the shop, we still think that's a great value, and we're not trying to discourage that. But economically, that's one of the big changes in my career, is the whole economic value between the truck stop leverage and buying power we have versus the fuel. Did I say that again?
Better than I could have, and yeah, we do understand another value to being at the OC, and for sure it's counted as a compliant fuel stop, so please do.
Okay.
But thank you for asking. I think it was a terrific question.
Thank you, Michael. From Levi Cody Allen, when Schneider increased vacation for newer drivers and shortened tenure for Advantage Club, why were drivers between 2 and 3 years left out? Can we have a couple extra days as a one-time offer?
Well, Levi, one of the things I've certainly learned is that everyone wants more pay and wants more benefits, and do not take any offense to the request and the ask, because that's a common refrain. We clearly felt that we were out of market a bit, certainly at the front end of the tenure band. We made that decision. We also recently, around that same time, made a decision to not only reinstitute holiday pay, but do it at a far superior level than we did under the old program. We made some changes around mileage packages. And so we put all of those things together and say, what's the best balanced approach that people would like to see, what makes sense for the business, what helps us with our driver community, and all those things together get considered. And so that's how we got to that decision. I don't think we have anything else on the table as it relates to vacation presently to be considered. We think that is kind of where we're going to be for a while, but we certainly understand the question and appreciate the feedback.
Thank you, Levi. All right, we have a question from Pam Carroll. They have to have trucks for new drivers. Really, why do new drivers always seem to get the new trucks? So we hear this in different kind of variations monthly, and I'll just start it, and then I welcome any comments from you. So we don't have a policy that says new drivers get new trucks. It really is comes down to availability, what trucks are available and where they're needed, and that's how typically we're providing those trucks to drivers, whether they're new or not. I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of a symptom of the tightness of the equipment and the difficulty we've had of getting new trucks in here on time, and so we have less slack in the system, which in some respects is good, but certainly leads to your point, Robert, what's available sometimes certainly drives the decision. I think the good news here is we're continuing to, if we can get some cooperation on the builds, we're going to lower our age of fleet. So we're going to get more and more new trucks. We'd like to trade out our trucks at 4 years, so an average of 2 years, and start to lower our age of fleet. We would have done a little bit more last year if we could have. And this could be a year, if things go well, we can start to make even more progress there. But we want certainly for our seasoned and tenured drivers to have the very best equipment, and that's absolutely what we're focused on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Pam. This question is from Rich Cadell. My problem is most of the time my fuel solution is too far, requiring me to drive too close to empty. which we're trained not to do. Today, when I updated fuel, it was completely deleted fuel stop, and I did not provide an alternative, causing me to feel out of compliance, which affects my performance bonus. And I was in a meeting recently, and we were talking about, I don't know if it went anywhere, but we were talking about adjusting the required distance before they can get a new fuel solution. I don't know.
Well, Rich, this will be the one I'll punt to the experts, because this one's is beyond me, so.
Yeah, so there can be a couple different causes for having a fuel stop deleted, but obviously we don't want you to run too low on fuel. So we do have the optimizer set up to use most of the fuel tanks, so we don't have to fuel too often. But if you're feeling that you're going to go use too much fuel on your trip and you're going to need to fuel before you would get to optimized stop, you can request a new fuel solution. And certainly if you need to fuel, in addition to that, go ahead and get fuel. Don't run too low or don't run out of fuel. So
But the optimizer isn't set up to run them out of fuel.
no, it's not, but there could be some trips where we get lower fuel mileage on that dispatch than planned, and that can cause a problem.
Thank you, Stu. All right, another question from Kevin. Let's see, TE pay. With the new TE pay structure being higher and the addition of new TEs every month, experienced TEs who have trained continually all through COVID and for the last 6.5 years for me, thank you. And again, thank you for doing that, Kevin. We are going to be taking at least a 10% and as high as a 25% pay cut from previous years due to a lot more TEs. Is there anything that can be done to help offset some of this loss? So I'll start by saying, Kevin, thank you to you and all the other TEs out there, because we need our TEs and we want our best people as TEs to help train these new folks. And again, receiving training from a million mile driver and the many others that are in that category, they're training, it's just something that we value and we need. What I will say is I was in a call today, and it was a completely opposite kind of conversation. It was more of, we need more TEs. We're going to stop having 2 students in 1 truck, which means, again, more opportunities for TEs. And every time I hear the subject about TEs and trainers, it's we need more, we need more, we need more. So I'm not necessarily in tune with that, what you're feeling, Kevin. I'd welcome talking to you. You can absolutely call me, but that's not necessarily what we're seeing in our end. And I welcome any feedback or anything that you can share with me. You can call me tomorrow, email me tomorrow. You have my number, and we can certainly talk about it. I don't know if there's anything you'd add.
No, I would just reiterate the appreciation. So appreciative. When we go through the pandemic, we didn't have options in our shop or our driver associates to work from home, right? Our people had to step up to the call of the nation, and our customers, and especially our TEs who did extra work there, and so appreciative of that, Kevin. But what I hear most often is the similar vein is, hey, I could use a break. I think this is very much a personal preference, Kevin, and if you have an interest of being more available, please make that known, and I can imagine that could be taken into account. But we also want to make sure we have enough that people can take a break when they want it and need it, and that's probably kind of more the opinion that we hear, but I'm appreciative to get the other side of the story from you.
Yeah, so absolutely, Kevin, if you want to reach out again, you have my number, call me, text me, email me, and we can get some more perspective on that. This next question comes from Mark Azamin, also a regular. How about themed tractors or stickers for cancer and autism awareness? It shows we care like other companies. So I know we have the Ride of Pride, and we now have the Women in Trucking as well. I think that's the extent of our wraps at the moment. And I mean, I think we're open to suggestions, and we'll vet them and consider them and discuss them. But the reality is there's going to be 1,000 causes that our good associates are looking to make more awareness out there. And we really just have to kind of pick and choose what's going to work.
Yeah, and I think it's a great cause, and I appreciate that being teed up. One of the things that we do to show that we care and demonstrate is our Schneider Foundation supports all across the country various needs of the communities that we work and live. Last year, we supported $2.5 million of financial support to hundreds of folks around opportunities. And so, Marcus, if there's something near and dear and we can take a look through the foundation process, there might be other ways that we can support some of these great causes then, in addition to what you're suggesting here. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. All right, Steve Platt, Kearney Intermodal driver, and one that I spent about 12 and a half hours with a few years back. Welcome, Steve. You're asking the intermodal side, we are bobtailing a lot out of the rail to pick up empties, and when there are loads headed that same way on PC, is there any way that this can change? So Steve, familiar with the concern, and again, I know we've talked in the past, and I always share your feedback with the leadership group, the network group, and again, we have to cartage a certain extent, and I know that especially with the Kearney group, any extent that we do is typically seen as too much, and I don't say that in a bad way. We're happy that you guys are hungry and wanting, not afraid, and wanting to match up things. But third-party cartage is unfortunately part of the work as well. And I know there's times where you're seeing things that in your eyes don't match up. We try to look at things from a larger picture and all the matching pieces and things that are going on. But again, I welcome the opportunity to talk with you some more, Steve. I will absolutely forward specifics on to the network leadership group and try and get you some better answers and some more visibility and perspective.
Yeah, if there's one place that's a little frustrating for us presently is the friction involved in our intermodal business. Our demand, our customer opportunities are so much greater than our ability because of the friction of folks sitting on loaded equipment too long. And then when there is an empty, you want to get it as quick as you can, because that means we can get to that next load. And we're on a multi-quarter process here where we just aren't running as efficient as we're capable of because of all this friction. Try to solve some of that by bringing in 5,000 containers last year. We're going to try to bring in several thousand more this year to help alleviate that. But I think we're starting to see a little bit of better turn time from our customers and our rail partners. But unfortunately, that's been the place we've been in. And as COVID starts to subside, labor that's available to unload more timely, I think we'll start to see, and that'll help us optimize more effectively for everybody, Robert.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. All right, we have some shout outs. Brian Sercu, also a regular. Good evening from Winter Haven, Florida. It's 60 here today, Brian, so we're almost in Florida from a temperature standpoint. Michael Ritz, greetings from Lansing, Michigan. Again, Michael's a regular here. And then we have hello, Mark Rourke from the #1 YRC team. Good evening. We are somewhere in Tennessee. That's Christopher and Jenny Foshi, and Denise is on and claims her and Jeff are #1. So when I started reading the comment, I thought it was going to come from Denise, and so a little bit of competition going there between the #1 and #2 team, whoever the #2 team is. Hello all from Green Bay. Jackie, I'm not going to butcher your last name there, Jackie. All right. Hello, Jackie. Welcome. Thanks for being on. Pam Carroll, hello from Houston. Patricia Bergen, hello from Lake Park, Florida. Abel Capano, aloha, everyone. I'm guessing you're in Hawaii or viewing from Hawaii. Charles Price, hello. And David Trump Sr., another intermodal driver from the Chambersburg ramp. Hello, Robert and Mark from Chambersburg. And then again, another regular, Chris Bisa. Hello, Robert and Mark and Tammy, and all the behind the scenes of the chat. Checking in from home in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Going back to the questions here, Denise Smith, either the #1 or #2 team on the YRC account. Well, this time of year, mine is one. The other time that you're.
She's talking about fuel compliance.
Okay.
So now she's only getting one solution, and at other times of the year, she's getting 3. Why is that?
All right. Any insight to that, Stu?
I'd be happy to follow up with us, look into specific situations. I don't think we've made a technical change, but as a follow up with our fuel folks and see what's going on.
Okay.
Denise, maybe in these times of volatility, there's such a disparity between costs that it may be really trying to funnel more directly into the best location. And so I think the vast changes day to day in the price of fuel geographically maybe driving some of that, Stu, and
Absolutely.
something to look into.
So Denise, we can take a note and connect with Stu and get some more details and see if we can't figure out what's going on with that. So we're gonna jot that down and we'll follow up with you. This question's from Mike Frame. It's a SEM question. Honestly, for being a 24/7 operation, it's discouraging to have to wait 2+ hours to get a hold of anyone from SEM or to get a response when you submit a request from the app. Why is SEM so understaffed to handle the driver base? By the time you get a hold of anyone and they dispatch a service to you, your average wait is over 5 hours in my experience for simple things like a tire replacement. As CEO, what can you do to help solve this problem and get drivers back on the road faster?
Thank you, Michael. Great feedback. Obviously, that's an issue at heart at the driver experience. I do know our team, and I don't know if was that an evening or a weekend? I didn't get to see what the time frame was.
I don't think he said, it's just a 24/7 as a reference.
And I think the challenge always is when to have the right staffing at the right times. And I know they have a great metrics that they're always looking at to make sure that we can have the best staffing based on what we expect the demand. And I know particularly if there's going to be weather events, we get ahead of that. We change staffing. We bring in other partners that could help us. But absolutely, there's be no circumstance that we think anybody's winning if we have a 5-hour delay. But again, that could be unique to the circumstance, the winter condition. I don't know all the circumstance you're referencing there. But I do want you to know that it's important. We look at it and we want to make sure that we're being responsive.
And so, Michael, if you can send in your power number, we'd be happy to provide Jack Copeland some detail and see if we can dig in and figure out where some of those delays were, what the issue was. We'd be happy to do that. So if you want to just pop up your power number, we'll jot it down and
Do the follow-up.
and we'll do the follow-up. And again, as Mark said, we obviously don't want our drivers sitting that long. We want you moving. That's good for you. It's good for us. And so we'll follow up with you and provide some more detail. Next question is from A Askew. Hello, gentlemen. I'm a rehire and I'll be starting orientation again on Monday. Just wanted to say I think Schneider is an amazing company and I'm proud to be a part of it once again.
Well, that's awesome.
I love hearing that. And again, as I think about, again, some of Kevin's initial comments, and I look at the Hall of Fame out there and all those years of service, and you think about the just internally as well. You look at the time with you and Stu and Steve and even Todd. And I believe this is a company here built for longevity and for people to find a home. And our job is always to tweak and improve and make that better. So that we don't have those questions where people are saying we're a starter company. So thank you for that, and we love hearing it. Okay, so Mike Frame, another question from Mike. Why can't we get more truck washes per year? I hate my truck being so dirty, but I can't afford to pay out of pocket once a month to get it cleaned myself. Why not offer monthly or even quarterly truck washes to those that care for our equipment and want it to remain in good-looking condition? So I know that with the current tractors and just the PM cycles, obviously washes are less and less frequent. I think I view this, Mike, as something to work with your DTL on. If you've been through an area that the truck is particularly dirty and it merits a kind of an exception-based wash or an off-cycle wash, then that's something you certainly can approach your driver team leader and work with them on that. We don't want to just kind of open things up and have folks washing all the time and the cost that comes with, but we certainly understand that pride of ownership of that truck and what you're driving and wanting to keep it clean. And I think that is something we can work as an exception-based opportunity for us.
Great answer.
Thank you. All right. So we have Juan Chavez. Why is smoking not allowed in trucks if both team members are smokers? Well, one, I think that's primarily because the truck is going to at some point probably go to someone else. And if you go on vacation or you change an account or change a line of business, it's something that we end up having to clean out and air out and all those kind of things. And so it's just easier to say, hey, no smoking in the truck, smoke outside, that kind of thing. And I think, that's my best answer as relates to smoking in the truck. From Cam Berkeley here, why aren't more trucks equipped with APU units? I'm on the dedicated accounts in Texas. It's too hot or don't have one. Besides, Coke has a no idling policy. I don't know if that's something you can feel.
Jason? Yeah, that's
we are buying all of our sleepers for van division with battery powered HVAC. So we've gone to battery power versus the diesel powered APU because of its compliance with the carbon requirements and being able to deploy the truck any place. But we have really good results with that. But I'm sorry we haven't gotten a truck with an APU of some type to you yet. But as soon as we get the new trucks, we'll keep pushing them, especially to the south.
Yes, the last 3 years, everything we bought, I think, has been equipped with a battery unit, and maybe we just need to swap one out.
It's a good takeaway that we need to push those south.
And we push them south. So,
Yeah.
agree with the need. Thank you.
All right, Rich Cadell, will Schneider consider increasing our 65 mile per hour restriction? I understand we are a safety oriented company, which I appreciate and respect. It does not seem like we are in the way, even staying in the right lane. This sometimes creates a safety problem with other traffic. Could an increase be considered? At the moment, I don't know of an increase being considered, and I don't know if you have more information on that.
Yeah, Richard, thanks for the thought. There's really two things with speed. It's our number one correlation to MPG, and certainly with fuel where it is, that would probably be counterproductive at this point. And secondly, from a safety standpoint, which you mentioned, number one correlating on at least on accident severity, oftentimes is speed. Now, the flip side of that, now we have so much great safety equipment on the truck to help, particularly the rear-end collision mitigation, that it gave us the confidence to raise it when we did, but I don't really have any plans in the hopper to raise it beyond where it is presently.
Thank you for the question. This question is from Donald Furry. When and where are you training TEs? And so I would guess, and it is a little bit of a guess, that we're training them at all our training academies. I see it when I'm in South El Monte and other locations where you have folks coming in that are learning how to be a TE. So if you'd like more information, Donald, you can certainly reach out. You can reach out to me. I can get you connected with whatever the closest location for you would be and more information. My email is sotor@schneider.com, SOTOR@schneider.com. Email me, let me know some specifics, and I can work to get you some more information. Again, we would need TEs. We want more TEs, and
It's a great email. Easy to remember. It's got a nice symmetry to it.
Yeah, there you go. All right. This question, I came up to Green Bay under a load only to discover there is no OC here. Why don't we have showers at the driver training center? So I think, again, part of the reason is where we're located here in Green Bay, although it is our corporate office and our headquarters, it's not necessarily a kind of a main avenue of throughput for us. And so we consider those kind of things in terms of showers and amenities, how many folks are coming through, the cost, the advantage, and all those kind of things. And just not the throughput that would be required to put showers there.
Yeah, I think one of the developments we have done is gotten back to a small shop presence, I think 4 bays, and that may, based upon some equipment consolidation in the area, but you're right, Robert, we don't have the facilities for that presently.
Okay, next question is Lisa Starr. Good evening. It seems we have several rail locations that have boxes stacked on the ground. Is Schneider purchasing more chassis this year to be able to service our customers and who are waiting for that freight. If there is extra chassis at other locations, how difficult is it to have those chassis moved to where they are needed? Thanks. So Lisa, there we obviously have a plan to purchase more equipment. I believe we purchased 5,000 last year, and the plan is to continue to purchase. I don't know, again, like most things, whether it's truck related or parts related, steel and chassis, there are supply chain kinks and delays because of parts and those kind of things. But we do have a plan to purchase more equipment. We're definitely working to do that. And again, the goal for Intermodal is to double within the next 8 years. And obviously that means more equipment, more drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about 5,000 boxes, it was mostly boxes last year, a lot less on the chassis front. We have more plans for chassis this year. There was a world trade issue with where we were getting, who was the main producer of chassis from Asia, and that went through a World Trade Organization issue, which kind of mucked things up a little bit. There's now a domestic provider that will make a chassis, and we're working through that. But we know we're a little tight there, and we have to invest in more. And I do think it is really disruptive to move chassis from region to region, and what we really have to do is get our count up.
Right. And again, as Mark mentioned earlier, we are working on kind of that velocity of boxes that are sitting at customers and really trying to help our customers to free up things more quickly, which obviously helps you. So this next question is from T. Ashby. What is the difference in fuel efficiency for optimized idle versus an APU? And I'm going to look at our experts in the back of the room again.
Glad we asked those guys to stick around. These are great questions.
Great question. So the battery HVAC with optimized idle is doing extremely well, meeting expectations for FPG, but so does the tri-pack does well. It does really well in eliminating the idle. One thing, we don't end up measuring the fuel that it does consume. Where I see the big advantage besides deployability to the West Coast is where it's much more reliable for a battery HVAC. So we don't have the breakdown problems which we typically experience 1 or 2 years into the tri-pack. So those end up being problems, and we just know that continues through the life cycle of the tractor.
Right. Maintenance downtime much better.
Yeah, and in this environment with supplies and parts harder to get, definitely an advantage. All right, the next question comes from Brenda Sosnosby. Pilot says they are now working with Southern Tire Mart. What will be the future of Goodyear Commercial and Service? What are directions for pre-authorizations of tires and repairs in location Bosch shops? So I don't have any insight to the tire stuff at the moment.
Yeah, I will tell you, Goodyear is still our primary partner as it relates because they are so good on the service side. But certainly growth with Pilot will be with Southern Tire, bringing their expertise to bear. It's unfortunately a place that Pilot just hasn't gotten right yet, and they are fully committed to a better solution for their customers like us, and they believe Southern will do that. But it's not going to lessen the importance to us of Goodyear and the service centers and what they do in support of our shop locations and theirs. But on site at Pilot, I think it'll be more of a Southern Tire solution going forward than Goodyear.
Thank you. All right, next question from Sean Williams. Are we still allowed to smoke in trucks? And so we just had a similar question, and the answer is no. We don't want folks smoking in the trucks. And again, to reiterate what I said earlier is, the truck is your truck at the moment. It could be someone else's truck tomorrow or next week. And it leaves a smell, and we have to end up cleaning it more deeply and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And
I think that's an IM versus me. Yeah.
oh, okay. Okay. So I wasn't aware that in van truckload they can smoke in the trucks.
That's an intermodal rule because of the slip seating.
And that's where the world I come from is intermodal. So that's the reference that I'm answering from. So I guess the answer is yes, then, that you can smoke in the van truckload trucks. So thank you for clarifying that, Sean. We have another question from Pam Carroll. Houston van does not have a car or food. And there's 2 locations in Houston. There's Penn and Central. So So Pam, if you want to send some more details, you can email me, sotoar@schneider.com. I work directly with Angie Shiloh, the Director of Driver Services and Security Services, and I always give her feedback like that, and she's very interested in that type of feedback. And again, what it comes down to, similarly to the shower question, is how many folks do we have there? Is a vendor going to want to put machines and food and beverages there, because they need to see that throughput too. So if you want to provide me more information, I'll happily send that to Angie Shiloh, and we can see if we can maybe make a change there. Again, sotoar@schneider.com. Question: can you provide a facility update, Mark?
That's a question? Awesome. As you've hopefully have seen around the network, we've done and been going through a refresh of our driver services area in particular, but also for our office staff. And 2022 is another year of getting after the places that we haven't touched yet. And we're really excited about Atlanta, if we can finally get our permitting, which we've been working on a couple of years. We've got not only more parking there, but we also have an upgrade of the entire facility. We've got things going on in Keesby and Laredo and San Bern, and a lot of things reference the driver amenity piece, but also a lot of yard work to get after pavement and other things that we've got to get after. And so I'm really proud of the work of our facilities team. It's never enough feeling or fast enough, right? We all want it faster. But we made a lot of progress in 2021, and we're committed to more investment. When I said a net CapEx, Robert, of $400 to $500 million, it includes the things that we're talking about here around the facilities, whether it's just the refresh or fixing yards where we need to fix yards. It's a lot of commitment we've got on the books here for 2022.
Thank you for that. Next question, Mike Marsh. With fuel costs and inflation at all levels, at the levels they currently are across the nation, if we as drivers aren't getting at least 8%, we are losing money. What is Schneider planning on doing about this? So I'm assuming that's an MPG question? No?
I think it's back to everybody would want more compensation and more benefits, which we absolutely understand. We've been going through a number of changes across our driving configurations as it relates to compensation. We've made multiple adjustments there. We're also looking at some designs as we get into 2022 to try to take some of the variability away. And so we have a next generation pay design that we're working and we're starting to pilot in certain areas. And we want to do so in such a fashion that it doesn't come at the expense of our top performers, right, who are really productive. So we want to work on things that allow people to have more consistency week to week. But we also want to make sure we're rewarding our top folks. So pay is always at the top of our list to be competitive there. I think we're well positioned. And we also have to be ready for what happens on the downturn, right? And we've been on an extended period of solid freight demand. And we want to make sure we're balanced to the customer, helping us fund that, balanced to our associates, and having a return that we can invest in the things that we just talked about. So it's a balance act, and we appreciate and understand the question. And I'm proud of the work that's been done that we're going to get after here in 2022.
And to add to that, as I transitioned here and start sitting in these driver pay meetings and the pay teams and the driver experience, there is an army of folks and the different lines of business just doing great work and looking at that and what are we going to do, how are we going to do it, and so there's stuff coming, and we're
on the design front.
On the design front, yep. So Melissa Carswell, is there a target time for downtime each day for a team for showers, food, restrooms, etc.? We are new and want to stay productive, over the road dedicated. So I don't know.
First of all, Melissa, thank you for teaming, and thank you for wanting to be productive and right in the heart of our dedicated growth. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now you can ask a question.
No, well, I don't know that there's a specific target downtime for teams. It sounds like you're on the newer side, is what I'm reading from that. And I go back to my way back to C teams, for those of you that have been around for a while, and we had C teams that would average about 700 miles a day, if that. And I know that typically we want the truck to be moving most of the time.
20 hours?
Yeah, so I don't know that there's a target for that. We certainly have resources available to you in terms of kind of the best practices and approach. And so I would encourage you to reach out to your DTL, your OSR, and we can get some questions answered for you in terms of best practices. But there's
We got a great team group that has some really good practices there. So
absolutely, Chris McZolick, and
let's connect those.
yeah. So if you want to jot that down, and we'll have someone connect with you. Juan Carlos Gonzalez, good evening. This is Juan Gonzalez. Is any way to implement trailers to be cleaned after being offloaded? Ideal way customers or drivers, in that way with confidence we can present a great product to our next customer. Every trailer I pick up, so it's bad, and then lots of time to do it. Thank you. Well, Juan, unfortunately, I think that comes down to a peer not cleaning out the trailer and not taking care of it and passing it on to the next driver, and it's unfortunate. We can certainly, in those situations, I would recommend sharing that information with your leadership team, and then them potentially going back and providing feedback to that other driver. But it really falls on to the driver to clean it out after he or she's done with the delivery, and then leaving it in the right state for the next driver. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate,
So
but
there might be
sometimes
some customer-specific feedback in there too. But certainly, right in your location, if you see something specifically that a customer's doing that we need to get after, we'll get that addressed for sure.
Okay.
Customers are very much in tune, particularly in this environment, to the experience of the driver. So it could be one of both of those, Robert.
I read it the other way, but
Yeah,
you're right.
I could have read it the wrong way, so I don't want to say you read it wrong.
Well, Juan, again, if it's more a customer thing, absolutely provide us more information. And to Mark's point, we are pushing Rate My Location because we absolutely use it. And going back to my conversation earlier about visiting SoCal, we're promoting that Rate My Location, whether it's a customer, a vendor, a ramp, whatever the case may be, even a Schneider location, because we see that data and we use that data, and then we present it to the different stakeholders to say, hey, what can we do to help address this? So if you want to provide more information, if it is in fact more a customer thing than a fellow driver thing, we'll absolutely push that information up. David McDonald Jr., Mark, I'm on the ICL account, dedicated for the past 10 years. This quarter, the MPG standard for my truck didn't go down like it normally does for a winter season in the past. The weights we haul are much heavier than most dedicated accounts. ICL has seen a lot of growth in shorter haul freight too, and my MPG is always lower on short haul freight compared to longer freight. I usually haul for them. Right now I am 5 points. I'm at 5 points, but barely. If I could pull a couple lighter loads as this quarter, I will be okay. If I get some of the heavy loads, which I average around 6 miles per gallon, which is my current standard of 7 plus.
Maybe we go to the yellow.
Yeah, we'll go to the yellow. So companies like ICL have chosen companies that can put company trucks to service their freight. I see that this is a growth in transportation going forward, and I wish recruiting would do a better job getting us drivers. We struggle in the area on this company.
Is David an owner-operator?
No.
No. But as owner-operators retire, companies like that chose a company. You have so much good stuff in there, David, and maybe we're not getting, maybe a phone call directly would help us as opposed to answering something that we missed. So
yeah, there's a lot of
you have a lot of great insight there. Robert, can we get him direct and then do that?
So we're going to write down your name, David. I don't know if you have the ability to write down right now, but my cell phone's 213-219-2561. Again, 213-219-2561. I welcome the opportunity to get a better understanding of what you've got up there and see what we can help you with.
But I can tell you care a great deal about the company and what you're doing. So thank you for that. Let's get to a better understanding.
All right.
Final shout outs.
Final shout outs. We have from Bob Henry. Hi from PFJ in Grand Ledge, Michigan. We have from Bob Larrabee, another regular. Hello from Franklinville, New York. Hello from Whittier, California. Hey, right there. I used to live in Covina, so close to home, or what was home. Robert Hernandez. Welcome, Robert. Kurt Possible, hello from Las Vegas. And last but not least, Raymond McFadden. Hello from Butte, Montana. Hello, Ray.
We're at 7.
Where Todd was making fun of me for Todd Jaden had a shout out.
Oh.
So Todd is joining us
Remotely today.
remotely from Orlando. He's down there with his family, enjoying family time at the happiest place on earth, the Disney World. And he's sending a little jab at us. And so hopefully you're watching, Todd. Hopefully you're enjoying your time down there. And we look forward to seeing you this Saturday at the Driver Awards Banquet. So that's it for this edition of the Facebook chat. We want to thank Mark for being here once again, and we'll see him in 13 months. We want to thank Steve and Stu as well. And thank God they were here, because there was a lot of fuel questions. And definitely when you get into the weeds there, we welcome these experts. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm going to, again, end with my shameless plug for the Associate Engagement Survey. Please fill it out. We thank you for your time. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Be safe, and we'll see you next month. Take care.